Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video where you will learn how you can create this brand new slide zoom template in PowerPoint with clickable section zooms and awesome animations step by step. It's going to be legendary, so let's go. Okay my dear friends, let's jump into the magical forest of PowerPoint and let me show you how you can create this presentation. And first of all, let me share with you my PowerPoint version because sometimes you are asking what kind of version I'm using. So my PowerPoint version is Microsoft 365. And by the way, in today's tutorial, we'll be using a little bit of Morph transition, which is available in PowerPoint 2019, 2021, and Microsoft 365. But if you don't have the Morph transition, don't worry because you'll be able to create pretty much everything that you're going to see in this tutorial. We're going to use Morph transition just like a cherry on top for a beautiful flipping hexagon animation, but it is absolutely not essential, for this presentation to be created, okay? So now, my friends, let's just open up a fresh blank new presentation where we can start from scratch. And first of all, let me just close down this notes section at the bottom. And at the same time, we can hide these two text placeholders. We don't need them. Let's just go to the layout drop-down menu and let's just click on blank and skadoosh, they're gone. Okay, and now let's find that beautiful background forest photo that I was using in my original presentation. And to find this photo, we'll have to jump into the internet. Here it is, the internet. And more specifically, here is the unsplash.com. And over here, I have collected this little collection of forest photos. And by the way, this photo is from my original slide zoom template, okay? But in today's tutorial, let's use this new photo by Cat Clausen. Thank you very much, Cat Clausen. Now let's just zoom into the photo. Let's right-click on it. Let's just copy the image. By the way, link is in the video description. Let's get back to our fresh blank new presentation and let's hit Ctrl-V to paste that photo. That's nice. Let's zoom out a bit, and as you can see, the photo doesn't cover the whole slide, but that's not a big problem. We can just select the photo. Let's grab this right top corner and hold down the shift key and let's just drag the photo upwards just like that. Of course, if you'd wish, you could just drag this photo downwards just like that. But I think it's nice to stretch this photo upwards just like this. Now it covers the whole slide. That's nice. And now we can select the photo, go to picture format, crop options, and now let's just grab this top cropping handle. And let's just crop the top of the photo so that it nicely fits in the slide. That's nice. And if we would look into my original slide, as you can see, this background photo looks a bit different. It looks warmer, okay? It looks like a golden hour is happening inside of this photo. And the reason why these photos are looking different is because I have flipped this photo in my original slide horizontally. So let's do the same for this photo as well. Let's flip it horizontally. And the other thing, let me just right-click on the photo. Let's go to picture format. The other thing is that I have made a couple of picture adjustments. So first of all, let's add a bit of brightness, 10% of brightness, and a splash of contrast. And at the same time, let me adjust the temperature of this picture. So let's go to picture color and let's use this temperature preset, okay, of 11,200. I guess kelvins or any other units that you're using to measure the temperature, okay? And now these two photos should look pretty much the same. Let me check. And yes, it seems that both of the photos are looking identical. Okay, my friends, so now to make this whole presentation work, we'll have to create some slide sections because we're going to use section zooms, not slide zooms, but section zooms. And if we would go currently into this Insert tab, go to Zooms, as you can see, section zooms are not available because we haven't created any sections, any slide sections yet. So let's do that. So first of all, for this first slide, we can just right-click here at the top above this slide and let's choose Add Section. And for this section, let's just call it Home. Okay. And now let's just add a second section. And for this guy, let's just call it Opportunity. Okay, that's beautiful. And now inside of this second section, we can just hit Enter to insert a new slide. That's beautiful. And over here, we're going to create two slides. And then inside of this slide, we're going to insert a section zoom And through that section zoom, we will be able to zoom into these slides into the opportunity section. Okay, so let's get back to this white slide. And first of all, let me just right click on it and let's just fill it with a gray color. Okay, so that we can better see all of the things that we're going to be doing. By the way, this gray color is going to be transparent later on, so don't worry about that. This is just to make it easier for us to see everything that we're doing. Okay, my friends, so as you can see in my original slide, we have these beautiful rounded hexagons, and by default, it's not possible to create these kind of rounded hexagons in PowerPoint. The closest thing that I can find is this hexagon, which is laying on the side, rotated a bit, and it has sharp corners, so this is not what we need. And let me show you how we can quickly and easily create these hexagons in Figma. Figma is an online tool, free online tool that you can use to create many things. So you can just go to figma.com, you can log in with your Gmail account, for example, and once you're logged in, you will see a screen that looks like this. And then you can just click on the new design file button. Okay, and now let's just go to the shapes tool. We can just expand all of these shapes. Let's use the polygon tool. We can hold down the shift key to draw a nice triangle. And now here in the count field, let's just type in 6. And for the corner radius, you can use any amount that you wish. I'm going with 50 and skadoosh. This way we have those rounded corners. That's nice. I guess you can even grab this handle and make this hexagon as rounded as you wish, but let's just go with 50. And here where we see the fill, we can change the fill to any color that we wish. For example, this one. Okay, and now let's just make sure that this guy is selected. We can give it a different name, for example, hexagon. That's beautiful. And now let's just go to export tab. Let's make sure we're using SVG, and let's just click on export hexagon. Skadoosh. So now the hexagon has been exported. That's nice. Let's get back to our presentation, and now let's go to insert picture. Let's choose this device. As you can see, I have already tested out exporting hexagon, so this is the one that we need. Let's choose this guy, and here it is. We can convert this SVG into shape if we wish. Okay, this way it will be easier to work with this guy. And now let's make sure that we align this guy to the center and to the middle. By the way, I have added all of the alignment shortcuts that I need to this quick access toolbar. So these are all of the buttons that I'm using. You can just expand this little arrow, go to more commands, and you can basically, construct your own quick access toolbar and use all of your most common commands that you're using. So here is all of the list of possible commands. You can go to all commands and just, select anything that you wish and click on add, or you can remove if you don't need something. And what's awesome is that when you hold down the Alt key, you can see all of these little numbers. So for example, number 4 is the format shape. So once I select any shape and hit Alt 4, format shape opens up automatically. That's nice because, usually you would just have to right click on the shape and then click on format shape. So that's a few additional clicks. And now by hitting Alt 4, I can quickly open up the format shape. So that's nice. Okay, my friends. So for this slide, let me just first of all make sure that this hexagon is sitting in the center of the slide. Now we can hold down the Control and Shift keys and drag and click on this handle on the side, on the corner, and let's increase this hexagon so that it pretty much has the same height as the slide. Okay. So it should look like this. And next we can remove the fill from the hexagon, and at the same time I'll show you how we can create this faded gradient line. So let's jump back to our slide and let's make sure that we select the hexagon, and let's hit Alt 4 to open up the format shape. And now let's add a gradient line to our beautiful rounded hexagon. So as you can see, we have 4 color stops. That's too much. Let's just leave 2 color stops. And for the width, for the line width, let's use 5 points. That's beautiful. By the way, let me remove the fill. We don't need that fill. And let's make sure that both of the color stops are white. Okay. But the second color stop, let's make it fully transparent. And by the way, let's grab this first color stop and let's move it to the position 50%. This way, that white color will be brighter. And after that, the rest of the hexagon line is going to be faded, just like that. That's nice. Okay, so let's see what else do we have on this slide. So next, as you can see, we have this beautiful bulb icon. And of course, let me just jump to our slide. Of course, you can go into Insert tab and use icons if you have icons in your PowerPoint version. But in today's tutorial, let's do something different. Let's go to this website called phosphoricons.com. Okay, let me just reload the web page. Here it is. So these icons are absolutely free and you can use them for your presentations if you wish. So that's awesome. And over here, we can just search for anything that we wish. So let's just search for bulb. So here we have a couple of bulb icons and I'm going with the thin style. Okay. We can as well increase the font size, not the font size, but the icon size for a better preview. And now let's just click on this guy and then let's just download SVG. That's how simple it is. So let's get back to our presentation. So to insert that icon, let's go to Insert Pictures, this device. Here it is, the icon. Okay, once again, we can click on this button to convert this SVG to shape. We can increase the size of this icon and let's fill it with white, just like that. And for the height, let me use 7 centimeters. Okay, that's beautiful. And by the way, let's make sure that we lock the aspect ratio so that once we change the height, 7 centimeters, the width would change accordingly. Of course, in this case, it's a minimal change, but let's make sure that we maintain the proportions. And as well, let me just make sure that we select the icon and let's hit Alt F4 to open up the format shape. And let's add a little shadow to this icon so that it stands out better. Let's go to shadow. Let's choose this preset, which is called offset bottom right. That's nice. And for the transparency, let's use, for example, 50% for the blur, 10 points, and the distance 3 points is looking good. Okay, my friends, and next we have to insert a beautiful text box just below this icon. And let's check in the original presentation how this text box was looking like. So the font name is Playfair Display, font size 140. And the text is using the italic mode and it has a bit of shadow. So let me show you how we can do all of that in our slide. So let's go to Insert. Let's click on Text Box. Let's just click once to insert a text box. Okay. And now let's just double click inside and let's just type in opportunity. That's beautiful. Let's make sure that the text is center aligned in the text box and let's make sure that the text box itself is aligned to the center of the slide. That's beautiful. So now let's make sure that this text box is using Playfair Display. Let's set it to italic. Let's fill the text box to white and let's set the font size to 140. That's beautiful. Let's bring it upwards. Okay. And I think for the letter spacing, I was using tight. That's nice. And now we can select the text box and we can hit Alt 4 because I have, these shortcuts in the quick access toolbar to open up the format shape. And now let's add a little shadow to this text box as well. So let's go to the shadow section and let's use this preset, offset bottom right. That's nice. Let's use the transparency of 50%, blur of 10 points. Okay, and the rest of the settings are looking good. That's nice. So here is the first slide of our opportunity section. Okay, here it is. You can adjust, the spacing between the icon and the text box to your liking. That's nice. And I think we can just duplicate this slide. And on the second slide, we'll have to do a couple of adjustments. So first of all, let's resize this icon. Okay, let's make sure it has the height of, for example, 2 centimeters. So a pretty small icon. Okay, let's make sure it's center aligned. That's beautiful. And for this text box, we can just select the text box and we can use this shortcut, Control Shift and period to resize it. Let me check the precise font size for this text box. It was 72. Okay, so let's use 72 for this text box as well. Let's bring it upwards. That's nice. And now let me just grab some content from my previous slide so that we can save some time. And over here we just have three rounded rectangles with some numbers with some text boxes inside, and this guy has some shadow, some glowing shadow. Okay, so let's just copy this group and let's paste it into our slide, just like that. Okay, let me bring this text box a bit upwards. And by the way, let me ungroup all of these rectangles. Let me show you how this glow was created. So once again, we can select this shape and just hit Alt-4 to open up the format shape. So as you can see, this guy is using a shadow option, not a glow option. So you can see there's no glow, but I'm using shadow options. Usually I'm using shadow to make a glow effect because I think a shadow gives a more, softer look. And I think with the glow effect, you get a really intense glow. So usually, 9 times out of 10, I'm going with the shadow to create a soft glow effect. And in this case, I'm using the same bright green color as the fill color. And I just maxed out the blur to 100 points. And this way we can get this beautiful glow effect. Okay, that's looking beautiful. So let's just adjust the positioning of all of the elements. And let me actually make this text box slightly smaller, just like that. Okay, my friends, and next we have to do a couple of important steps. Let's make sure that we jump to the first slide of the opportunity section. And now let's set this slide to transition automatically. And we can do that by going into the transitions tab and checking this checkbox after 0 seconds. And this means that once we will land on this slide, we will transition automatically to the next slide. That's awesome. And let's make sure that this slide, the second slide on the opportunity section, is using the morph transition. And you can specify the duration, and let's go with 1.5 seconds. Okay. You can, of course, go with any duration that you wish. And next, let's select this rounded hexagon. Let's go to shape format. Let's go to rotate and let's flip it vertically. Okay. So now as you can see, this faded part is at the top on this slide. And on the first slide, this faded part was at the bottom. And since this slide is using the morph transition, we should see a nice hexagon flip animation. Let's check it out. Skadoosh, that's looking beautiful. And since we have made the icon and the text box smaller compared to the first slide, these two guys are shrinking as well. That's nice. And of course, if you don't have the morph transition, you can use any other slide transition that you have in your PowerPoint version. In that case, the animation won't look as dynamic as with the morph transition, but still you'll be able to create this beautiful template as well. Okay, my friends, so the opportunities section is ready, and now we can jump back to our home slide, our starting slide. Now we can jump into the insert tab. Let's click on zoom, and as you can see, the section zoom is available. That's nice. Let's click on it. Let's click on the opportunities section. Let's insert it, and skadoosh, here it is. And of course, we don't want to see that gray background. So for that, let's go into Zoom tab. Let's click on Zoom background and skadoosh. Now the section zoom is transparent. That's nice. And make sure that return to zoom is activated, which means that once we will zoom in, we will go through slides 2 to 3. So 2 and 3. And after that, we will zoom back to our starting slide. That's awesome. Okay, so currently, as you can see, the section zoom is transparent. In my original presentation, we have this kind of glass morphic blurry background. So I'll show you how we can do that in a second. But if you like this look, this kind of transparent look, so that's awesome as well. By the way, let me set the home slide to fade transition. Okay, so that we have a subtle transition. And let's just check it out on the full screen, how this section zoom is looking right now. We can click on it and we zoom into it and we automatically transition into the next slide. That's awesome. Let me use the mouse wheel to scroll back to the previous slide. And here it is, once again, that beautiful animation. And once we're done with all of the slides in this section, we should click and zoom back to the home slide. That's awesome. That's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now let me show you how we can create that beautiful glass morphic blurry background if you'd like to have that kind of look for your presentation. Okay, so first of all, let me grab this beautiful rounded hexagon from my previous slide. Let's paste it over here. Let's resize it. All right. Once again, let me jump into the format shape with Alt 4. And in this case, let's use, for example, this solid fill just for now. Let's use no line. And let's make sure that this section zoom stays on top. So let's bring it to front. Let's resize this bright rounded rectangle. Actually, let me use a different color so it's easier on the eyes. For example, this dark green. Okay, so let's make sure that this green hexagon is precisely below this section zoom hexagon. And we can use the control key to resize it from the center, just like that. That's looking beautiful. And the whole secret, the whole trick is going to be setting this green hexagon to slide background fill. But as you can see, currently we have this photo on top, and the slide itself is white. So if I would choose this green hexagon, we can use Alt 4 to open up the format shape. And if I would choose slide background fill, as you can see, just becomes white because the slide background is white. So we have to change the slide background to that blurry photo. So let me show you how we can do that. We can just duplicate our original photo. Okay, once again, let me just hit Alt 4 to open up the format picture in this case. Let's go to artistic effects. Let's choose the blur effect. Here it is. And for the amount, let me go with the maximum. We always go with the maximum, okay, while we are creating presentations. So as you can see, with the radius of 100, we get this super blurry photo. That's nice. We can just hit Ctrl-C to copy it, okay. So this blurry photo has been copied to the clipboard. We can delete the photo itself. And now let's just right-click on the background of the slide. Let's go to Format Background, and let's go to Picture, and let's just click on Clipboard, okay. And now that blurry photo has been pasted as the slide background, and on top we have this original sharp photo. Let's position it as it was, just like that. And now we can select that green hexagon, and now we can set it to slide background fill. And skadoosh, we are seeing that blurred background photo. That's nice. And what's cool is that if we would change the position of this section zoom, that blurry hexagon would always adapt to the slide background. That's nice. And by the way, one more thing that we could do for that blurry hexagon, let's make sure that we select it. Let's jump into the format shape. Let's add an inside shadow. So here is the shadow section. Let's go with this inside shadow. I'm using black in this case, and let's use 40 points for the blur, okay? So this way we're just adding a little, definition to the edges of this section zoom. That's looking beautiful. Okay, my friends, so one more thing that I would like to show you is how to animate this section zoom. So let's just zoom out a little bit. Let's make sure that we select the section zoom, okay? We can open up the animations pane, just like that. So the section zoom is selected, and let's add a zoom animation to this guy. All right, so for the duration, let's use, I guess, 1 second. Let me jump back to my previous slide to check what was the duration of the animation. It was 1 second, okay? That's nice. Let's jump back. So let's use zoom animation of 1 second. That's beautiful. Let's make sure it starts with previous. And now let's select that blurry hexagon in the background. And for this guy, let's go to add animation, and let's go to more entrance animations because we want to select this spinner animation, which is hiding over here. Let's add a spinner animation. That's beautiful. Let's make sure it starts with previous as well. Duration 1 second. Okay, and now let's check it out on the full screen. And skadoosh, the hexagon is spinning in and the section zoom is zooming in. And as you can see, each time when we finish the opportunity section slides and when we come back to the home slide, all of the animations are repeating each time. And if you like that, that's nice, but let's say you'd like to see those animations just a single time. So let me show you how we can do that. And to make that happen, let's make sure that we duplicate the home slide, okay? And now on the duplicate slide, let's go to animations. Let's open up the animation pane. Let's select all of the animations and let's delete them, okay? So now the second home slide doesn't have any animations, only the first home slide has the animations. And let's make sure that the first home slide is set to transition automatically after 0 seconds. And this way we should see these animations only a single time. And after that, we should transition to the second slide where we have no animations. And over here, we should be able to successfully zoom in and zoom back without seeing, those animations replaying each time. So let's check it out. Here is the first slide with all of the animations. That's nice. And now we should automatically transition to the next slide. We can check that by just right-clicking on this slide window, and let's just click on this button, see all slides. And as you can see, we're definitely on the second slide currently. That's beautiful. So now, once we click on the section zoom, we go through all of the slides. And once we click again, we zoom back and we don't see those repeating animations. That's nice. So this is a workaround if you don't like to see those repeating animations each time. But if you like those repeating animations, that's super duper awesome. And in that case, you can use just a single home slide. Okay, my friends. And by using the same technique and the same steps, you can create as many of those section zooms. We have opportunity, section, market, solution, model, theme. And once again, all of these slides are absolutely free. Well, I guess I didn't mention it before, so I mention it now. All of these slides are absolutely free. Link is in the video description. So thank you very much for watching. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace.